Good morning, ladies. I just wanted to touch base and give you some guidelines on this worksheet that I'm going to be sending you on identifying my triggers and health habit sabotages. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on this so that you have a really good clear understanding of how to fill out the worksheet and how it's going to most benefit you. This is probably one of the most important things that we can do to identify what keeps pulling us back. What are those behaviors? What are those thoughts? What are those feelings that keep pulling us back into behaviors that are sabotaging our health, that are, why do we keep falling back into the same patterns over and over again? And the first step in understanding how to work past this is to by awareness. We need to be aware of what we're thinking, feeling, doing in order to make a change. And so this is really a process for you to become very much aware of what you're thinking, feeling, and doing when you are participating in a health sabotaging behavior, or when you are about to or compelled or triggered to head in that direction. So we're thinking about a trigger, like our finger is on the trigger of a gun. And most of the time when we are triggered, the compulsion is to just fire, to pull the trigger. I am frustrated and bored, and so I'm going to go eat because I want comfort. I am feeling out of control and feeling like I don't have a lot of say in what's going on in my life right now, so I'm going to control by choosing what I want to eat, and that's going to be something that is sugary because nobody can tell me what I can and can't do. All right, so some of these thoughts and feelings are pretty strong and pretty ingrained, and we're working on changing some of the core beliefs that are around these, but we do have to be aware of them in the first place. So what I'm going to have you do, I'm just going to walk through this worksheet briefly so that you understand how to fill this out. The first question is, what are my health sabotaging habits? Be as specific as possible. These are the things that you identify and recognize as the habits that are getting in the way of you getting what you want. So I want to lose weight, I want to be healthy, I want to make good food choices, but these habits keep getting in the way. I can't move past some of these habits. For example, when I eat sugar, I can't stop. I'm too busy to sit down and eat a meal. One of the clients that I worked with, one of her, we'll kind of walk through the process, one of her sabotaging habits was that she grazed all day long. So instead of sitting down and eating a meal, she was grazing all day long. And so we broke it down even further, and we made it even more specific. So she broke it down to the fact that when she was making dinner, or when she was making her kids' lunches, she was constantly eating. Whatever was there, she was just putting it in her mouth. And so yes, there was some work that we did as far as the beliefs and that is concerned, but there's also the habit of just having food available and having it go in our mouth. So what we did was we broke it down. What are the thoughts, feelings, and actions or behaviors that are happening during this sabotaging, or that are triggering this sabotaging habit? So let's think about the thoughts. So as she's making her kids' lunches and she's thinking to herself, or maybe not even thinking at all, and all of a sudden the food is going in her mouth, and then once she sees that the food's going in her mouth, she starts feeling like, wow, I thought I wasn't going to do this anymore. I had told myself that I wouldn't do this. Why am I still doing this? I guess I'll just start tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I guess I might as well just eat whatever is in front of me because it's here, and I'll start my diet tomorrow. So those were some of the thoughts. Some of the feelings were frustration and feeling like a failure, and also just distraction. Just, it was something that she was not even really thinking about. So what we looked at with the behavior was that she was standing in the kitchen, and she was making the kids' lunches. And so we had to kind of look at what are the guidelines. And this is the last question on the worksheet. What are my personal guidelines? So when you recognize that you're in this situation where you're triggered, where your compulsion is pushing you towards a choice that maybe isn't necessarily in your best interest, we need to put guidelines in place. We need to have something that changes the pattern so that we can make a different choice and have a different outcome. So her personal guideline in this situation was to have a glass of, it's a peach iced tea, and it was just made with peach herbal tea and a little bit of stevia, and it was something that was really sweet and delicious and tasted good to her. So it didn't feel like she was saying, I can't eat anything during this time, because that wasn't very doable. She replaced the food, she kept her mouth busy with the peach tea. So she was able to identify that if I have the peach tea on the counter, then I recognize that when I'm making my kids' lunches, I need to have that there. And I'll sip on that rather than graze on my kids' lunches. So one of the tips that I give in order to access our guideline, because sometimes we're in such a place of compulsion that we can't even act on the guideline. And so one way to access the guideline is just through breath. And that's doing your 8-4-8 breathing. And I've put those tips on the worksheet. So make sure you are becoming aware of what your triggers and health sabotaging behaviors are. Recognize those, write them down, be specific, and then access your breath when you notice that one of these situations is coming up, and then call upon your guideline, what you have told yourself is your guideline in this situation. And hopefully that helps. We can talk more on our integration call about the guidelines and what's working for you, and put these into practice over the next week. And I look forward to hearing your experience on Wednesday. Thanks much.